So you want to get your yarn and an appropriate sized hook. The yarn label says that this yarn takes a 6mm, and you can find that. Oh, it says it takes a 5.5. So I am a full hook size bigger. However, I have really tight tension, so bumping your hook size up helps with that. And I can't help but notice that they match. So I'm going to use it because how fun is that? Any yarn will do. Once you get into crocheting, you'll find your favorites. This is Red Heart. We are going to learn how to do a granny square. So, we have to work in the round. So this is not how you would start a flat lay. This isn't necessarily regular crocheting, because usually you start with a slip knot and a chain. And I'm going to show you 3 ways to work in the round. Starting with the most popular, however, it's my least favorite. It goes by a lot of names. Magic ring, magic loop, a cinch ring. There's a couple of more that I'm forgetting. It has been a very long day. But it is usually referred to as a ring or a loop. And usually in the word, magic is in there. So you want to hold your yarn in between your thumb and your ring finger. And you're going to want to do an X. So you want there to be an X. Hi, Joe. She just came in from being outside and she's wanting to make sure that I didn't eat any snacks. You want there to be an X. And I'm going to hold the X with my thumb now that I don't need to hold my tail. And I'm going to pinch the strand in between my middle and ring. No, my pinky and ring. Anyway. Oh, this is weird for the camera. This is a weird angle for me to be so that you can see. We're going to go under the first loop, hook that second loop, and pull it up. And now, make sure it twists. And now we're going to do a chain. A chain is just simply you're going to loop the yarn with your hook, hook the yarn with your hook, and just pull it through the loop that's on your hook. And this angle okay, there you go. Now we can let go of it, and this is going to be what we're going to work into. Now, from here, you are just going to work into the circle. If you weren't doing a granny square, you could do all kinds of things. However, because we are doing a granny square, you can pull this out like this. Because we are doing a granny square, I'm going to chain 2. I'm going to hold the bottom of this ring for stability. And remember, we already have the 1 chain, so that was 2 chains. I'm going to wrap the yarn over. This is called a yarn over. So basically, I'm going to go under the hook and make the yarn go over my hook. I'm going to go into the ring and pull up a loop. This is the most confusing and hardest way to do a to start working in the round, which is one of the reasons why it's not my favorite. But just keep watching or skip to this time zone if you want to try a different way, because this one is my least favorite and I never use it. So now that you have the 3 loops on your hook, you're going to yarn over, you're going to hook the yarn and pull through 2 of those loops on your hook. And then you're going to yarn over and pull through the other 2. And now we're going to do that again. So we're going to put the yarn over our hooks. We're going to go into the circle. We're going to pull up a loop. We're going to hook the yarn and pull through 2. Hook the yarn and pull through 2. Now for the granny stitch and the granny square, the basic characteristic is a fan or a shell of 3. We've only done 2 double crochets. However, that first chain 2 will count as a double crochet. So we are done with our first shell. We're going to chain 2, so hook the yarn and pull it through the loop on our hook. Hook the yarn, pull it through the loop on our hook. And we're going to do 3 double crochets. So we're going to yarn over. We're going to stick it in the circle, pull up a loop. I'm just trying to keep everything straight. Going to pull up a loop. Hold on. I'm going to hook the yarn and pull through 2, and I'm going to hook the yarn and pull through the other 2. And another one. Yarn over. Go into the middle. Hook the yarn and pull through 2. Pull through 2. And for the last one of this sequence, yarn over, go into the middle, pull up a loop, pull through 2, and pull through 2. And now we have our 3 double crochets. We're going to chain 2 again. The chain 2, oops, sorry, bumped you there. The chain 2 acts as corners. So this is the bottom of our square for right now, and this is the side of our square. You'll see it better when I finish the other 2 sides of the square. So now that we've chained 2, we're going to do 3 double crochets. One, 2, 3. Chain 2. One, 2, 3. and 3. Now, we have all 4 of our sides, and that chain 2 is our last corner. So before I connect the square, we are going to take this little tail, and this is what makes this stitch, even though it's so complicated. Hold on, I'm trying to get it better in screen because I am hugging a tripod. This is the part that makes this stitch worth it for people, because all you have to do is pull this string out and you can get, oh, there you go, a very cinched circle. There is no hole there. So now that we've chained the last corner, chained the last 2, we're going to insert our hook into this V right here. We're going to put our hook through both of these loops. This is the top of our double crochet. It's important to note that this is the top of the very first double crochet we made, not the chain 2. I'm going to go under both of those loops. I'm going to pull up a loop, and I'm going to pull it through the hook loop on our hook immediately, and that connects our square. Now you can see the square because there's this side, this side, this side, and this side with the corners in the corners. I'm now going to show you how to do the other methods of working in the round. And when we come to the last method, there's only 3 that I'm going to show you. When we come to the last method, that's the method that I prefer and that I like to use. So I'm going to use that method to show you what to do next. You can skip to this timestamp. If you ever make a mistake in your work, don't fret, don't worry. All you have to do is take the yarn that is connected to the skein, otherwise known as your working yarn, and just pull it. Ta-da! Here is the second way of making starting to work in the round. You're going to hold the yarn tail between your thumb and middle and just wrap it around your index finger, and holding that cross section, slip the loop off of your finger. Put your hook in, hook the yarn, pull it through, and I'm going to hold both of the tails while I pull up on my hook. And now I'm going to pull the working yarn to tighten the loop. From here, we're going to chain 4. So we yarn over, pull through the loop. Yarn over, pull through the loop, yarn over, pull through the loop, yarn over, and pull through the loop. These are chain stitches, and you can see that they consist of 2 legs of a V. Give me a second. So this leg and this leg is a stitch. So are these 2 V's, and these 2 V's, and these 2 V's. Now when you turn this around, you don't see V's, but you do see bumps. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So what I want to do is work through the back bump of the very first chain 1. And my metal rod would go through easier if it was a darning needle, but I don't know where my darning needle is. That is just some scrap metal that I didn't put into a project. Anyway, we are now going to work in the back bump of the first stitch. Sometimes your hook needs a little bit of encouragement to go through the stitch, so just push it on. Make sure you get all of the yarn of the back bump when you do it. Okay, I had to step away for a second. Back bump. I'm also relying on just the camera because, again, I am hugging this tripod and I can't really see anything except for what's on the camera. So I want to make sure that I got all of that yarn. Yeah, I got all of the back bump on my hook now. So now I'm going to do a slip knot, and that is just like a chain, except for you're working into a stitch instead of just chaining. So I'm going to yarn over, pull through that back bump, but I'm going to also take that same yarn, that same loop, and pull it over that 4th chain. And this leaves us with this weird kind of shape. This is also a ring shape, and you are supposed to work into the circle. So, chain 2, 1, 2. And this is where you work into the circle. I tuck my tail while I work so that my tail is hidden under my work instead of having to weave it in at the end. I'm going to chain 2 and create my corner. So I'm just doing double crochets going into the hole. Hi, can I help you? I'm busy. That's 3, chain 2. I know you want my attention, but you need to wait. You need to wait. Mwah. No. You can push things around in the circle if you need to make room. This is my 4th wall. Tuck the tail behind, so when we come back, we can either weave it in or snip it off since I worked over it the entire round. And now we're going to make our final corner and go into our very first double crochet stitch. And there is this corner. It still looks the same except for this hole, which I could have used a smaller hook. I'm using a bigger hook, a little bit bigger than I would usually use for this so that you could see details on camera. But you can use a smaller hook to get a smaller hole here. This is only my second favorite way to do a work in the round, so I'm not that practiced with it. The last one probably needs the most practice to master. However, it is my favorite. It is the simplest. It is it's really cool. So we're going to start just like we did the last square, where we're holding the tail end and we create an X, we hold the X, and we slip the X off the finger, and then we grab the yarn and pull up a loop. I'm holding both of the working tails. I'm pulling the working yarn. And there we have it. That is how you create a slip knot. Now we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to yarn over, work in that back bump, and then you're just working in that back bump. There's one cluster, chain 2. I'm working into this hole right here. Now we have our 4 sides, and we tuck that end back behind the square like we did the last time. Create that final corner and secure the yarn with a slip stitch into the very first double crochet we made. This one is just the most simple. I love it. If I had, remember, I only thought I was doing a half of a size bigger than what the yarn required. I could have probably gotten this hole smaller. That is the only benefit to the magic ring, is the fact that it can get so small. But honestly, I don't mind a hole that big. It doesn't even fit my pumpkin. So now we're going to go beyond the round 1 of a granny square. So we're going to loosen our yarn, loosen our loop just a little bit, and chain 2. And now we're going to yarn over and go into the last corner that you made. Yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through 2, and pull through 2. It's still just a double crochet cluster, a cluster of 3. That the chain 2 counts as a double crochet here. Chain 1, because we are not creating a corner, we are just going into the next corner. Yarn over, enter the corner, pull up a loop, pull through 2, pull through 2. Yarn over, go into that corner, pull up a loop, pull through 2, and pull through 2. And now it's time for a corner. So we we chain 2, and we add 3 more double crochet into this corner. granny square has to get to row 3 before it looks and feels like a square, because right now you just have to count not only to 3, but also make sure that you did a chain before you went in onto the next shell, or if it was a corner and you didn't chain 2. So after the 3rd row, you can it really becomes mindless. Up, see? I need to chain 3. Nope, I just need to chain 2 because that's a corner, and I only chained 1 there, see? That corner just confused me. I am staring at my work through my phone. I couldn't really see it clearly. So that's 1, 2, this is 3. 1, 2, back into the same corner. Okay, let's start round 3. You can see it actually is a square. Round 3 is unique because it has more than just a corner or the start of a corner or the end of a corner. So we're going to start it with a chain 2, yarn over, and go into the last corner you made. Here's 2, and that makes 3 with the chain 3. Chain 1, go into the middle hole, and just do a single shell, a double crochet shell of 3. Here's another corner. Chain 2, work into the same corner. Apparently I just stood. We are exactly half. And now we're over half. One, two, one, two, three, one, two, three, and now we have to finish up this corner. One, two, and three. Create the corner. slip stitch, and that was row 3. If you want smaller gaps, only chain 1 in the corners and none in the rounds. And you can make this as small or as large as you'd like it. Just keep going around and around, putting, if you want, putting 1 more chain in the corners than you do in between the clusters, and you will figure it out.